Jefferson there, and it was a special night all around as they honored Randy Moss before the game, who just announced he's battling cancer. First quarter, Bears trailing 3-0, and that hurts. Jonathan Grenard gets Caleb Williams the strip sack. Blake Cashman takes it back and puts the Vikings in great field position. Off the fumble, Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson in the end zone. Here's how he celebrated. Vikings lead 10-0 after one quarter. Then it's 10-6, 13-3 rather here in the third, and it's Darnold to Jefferson again. Just short of the touchdown. Vikings knocking on the door. Next play, Aaron Jones says, "Open that thing wide open for me, please." He celebrates. Hanging in the stands. I'm not really sure how he did that, but the Vikings lead 20-3. Then fourth quarter, Vikings lead 20-6. 1st and 10. Jefferson again, time and space. 21 yards. He had 7 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown as the Vikings move downfield. And then it's going to be Cam Akers just dragging people on his way into the end zone. They go on to win 30-12 and clinch a spot in the playoffs. So with that, let's bring back in Domonique Foxworth joining us for more on the Vikings win over the Bears. And they're now tied with the Lions atop the NFC North. It has been so far, I feel like, this season really all about Detroit. But after what we've seen from them this weekend, it's really a lot about Detroit's injuries right now. So with all of that in mind and what we saw last night, can you see Minnesota winning the NFC North?
I still think I'm going to give the edge to the Lions, despite the fact that the Lions aren't as good as they were at the beginning of the season. I think over the course of the entire season, what they've accomplished has been pretty impressive, and it's not a foregone conclusion that the Vikings will win their next few games. They have Seattle on a short week, followed by the Packers, who are playing really well. They're going to have to win all those games and then close out the season against the Lions, who always find a way to win and have grit in even their tough losses. They play really well towards the end, even with all the injuries. So I'm going to give the favor to the Lions right now.
Let's do the power rankings then for the NFC. And where do the Vikings fall for you in the NFC power rankings right now?
I'm sorry for the laughter, but it might seem a little contradictory, my top 5, because I have the Vikings number 2 and the Lions after them, despite the fact that I think the Lions will win the division. I think right at this moment, the way that the Vikings are playing is better than the Lions, but they'll still win the division with the Packers bringing up the rear and Baker Mayfield and that new look kind of Bucs offense, the way they're playing right now. Closing out the top 5.
You explained it a little bit, but let me get this straight. You've got the Lions winning the NFC North, but you have the Vikings ahead of them in your power rankings. That's we got that right?
Yeah, we got it right. I mean, it's a very nuanced take that I'm giving you right there. It's just over the course of the whole season, I think the Lions are the best team in the division. But right at this moment, with all the injuries, I think the Vikings are a little bit better.
Still more to be played, and I'm sure Ryan likes your Eagles nod with your shirt there, your suit as well. We appreciate it, Domonique.
Sorry.
Thanks.
As long as Eagles are number 1. All right, how about those Lions? Their path to the Super Bowl just got a whole lot tougher. David Montgomery, knuckles to Jahmyr Gibbs-Sonic, now out for the season with a sprained MCL. He's getting a second opinion, but Dan Campbell thinks that Montgomery's going to need surgery. He leads the Lions with 12 rushing touchdowns, and Campbell, well, he knows the impact of Montgomery's loss.
Gonna miss it, man. He's another one of these guys that got us to this position, helped get us to where we're at. And man, the rest of us, we owe him to keep going and make sure that wasn't in vain.
Indeed. NFL insider Dan Graziano joins us with more. Dan, I got a feel for these Lions. That wasn't the only injury they suffered on Sunday. What more can you tell us about their banged-up defense?
Yeah, defensive tackle Aleem McNeil had an ACL injury that's going to cost him the rest of the season. Their depth chart on defense is absolutely shredded. They have used 29 different starting players on defense this year. Carlton Davis, the veteran cornerback, suffered a broken jaw in that game. He has to have surgery on that. He's out for quite a while, if not the entire season. But that entire defense has been absolutely shredded by injuries, especially up front, where they lose another key piece in defensive tackle Aleem McNeil with that torn ACL. Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs left this game against the Browns on Sunday with a high ankle sprain. The Chiefs play on Saturday, and then they play again on Wednesday. The Chiefs have had Mahomes recover from ankle sprains before to play the following week in playoff games a couple of years ago. But with the compressed timetable, there is reason to wonder if he may have to miss one of these upcoming games. Chiefs, still too early in the week to know for sure. A little bit more positive news out of Pittsburgh on pass rusher TJ Watt, who suffered an ankle injury in Sunday's game against the Eagles. Head coach Mike Tomlin saying yesterday that Watt was moving around the facility very well, and that he anticipates that he'll be able to play. The Steelers also play Saturday against the Baltimore Ravens, but it sounds like there are encouraging signs that they will have TJ Watt for that game.
Huge news for Steelers fans in that Ravens showdown coming up. All right, let's talk about Kirk Cousins. He struggled last night. Dan, a lot of people are talking about what happens next with him. What are you hearing about the Falcons' plans at quarterback with 3 games remaining?
Ryan, the Falcons have consistently said that Kirk Cousins is their quarterback for this season, for the present, and that Michael Penix Jr., who they drafted with the 8th overall pick in April, is for the future. Everything I have been told, and I was with the Falcons as recently as 2 weeks ago when they lost in Minnesota, is that Kirk Cousins will get this year, that he will be the quarterback for this season, that they believe he gives them the best chance to work their way out of their recent slump. They did win last night's game, but after the game, head coach Raheem Morris said that Cousins has to play better, and he said we need to play better at quarterback. So that's at least sounds like a little bit of an opening for a potential change here with 3 games to go. Still no indication that that's what the Falcons are planning to do, but they do have Penix sitting there, who was a very high pick, who they think highly of, and if they feel like he gives them the better chance to win, I don't think anybody would be completely shocked. So far, publicly and privately, the Falcons have consistently said all year it'll be Cousins, but you know, it does start to feel a little desperate there, doesn't it?
Indeed, it does. Ryan back with Kirk Cousins under center last night for the Falcons and getting a lot of attention for it. Just not in such a good way.
Not the way you want.
Yeah, exactly. Raiders hosting Cousins and the Falcons. Raiders tied for the worst record in the league. Look at this. Under a minute to go. Cousins to Drake London. Touchdown. How about that? First passing touchdown since week 9. That stops a career-long streak of 151 pass attempts without a touchdown. So the Falcons, they're up 7-0.
I'm still stuck on week 9.
Yeah, really? Well, they were stuck on neutral in the offense. First play of the third quarter, Falcons up 9-3. Cousins, no. Intercepted by Robert Spillane. 5th straight game with an INT. Leads the league in interceptions.
Right.
That's not good.
Nope.
Fourth quarter, Raiders down 15-3. First and goal. Former Falcon Desmond Ridder to Amir Abdullah. Touchdown. Okay, the Raiders are in this thing. Down 15-9. 2 minutes to play. 3rd and 6 for the Falcons. Cousins looking for Ray McLeod. Almost another INT. Cousins only 112 passing yards on the night. Raiders would get the ball back. So 2 seconds left. Hail Mary time. Can they do it? No, they can't. Intercepted by Jesse Bates. Falcons win 15-9. Cousins, rough night. And Raheem Morris answering questions on his quarterback issue.
You got to play better. And, you know, obviously you got to go back, you got to be able to look at everything. But, you know, he wants to play better. He's got to play better. We got to find a way to get him to play better.
If he can't, are you prepared to replace him with Michael Penix?
You know, we got everybody on our roster for a reason, right? We got so much to get better at. And, like, those things will always be discussed. That's just the nature of the beast in football. It's just so heavily talked about it at the quarterback position because there's only one guy out there.
Coach just bobbing and weaving his way around answering that straight up. Jeff Saturday back with us, and I know you're not going to bob and weave. You're going to tell me straight up. Would you bench Kirk Cousins for Michael Penix Jr.?
I would not. I mean, listen, and I understand how bad he's struggling. He is struggling. It looks ugly. Even the pass on the 3rd down probably should have been an interception. But here's the facts. You're in a potential home field playoff spot if you can tie the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, by the way, you beat twice. And Kirk Cousins, as ugly as it looks, you've seen the upside of Cousins early on in the year, and you're hoping he finds his way back to that. I think that's ultimately the discussion. Other than trying to move to a rookie this late in the season, I just don't see him doing it. As exciting as it would sound, it's much harder lived than talked about.
Well, especially when they do still have so much to play for. As you said, Falcons, they're 1 game behind the Bucs in the division. They swept Tampa this season. So they do have the tie break. So, Jeff, how do you see things playing out in the NFC South?
This is tough. I'm still going to go with the Buccaneers here. I just think they are playing at a different level, and I think their schedule is probably a little easier in all honesty. And so, as you see them here, you got the Cowboys for the Bucs this week who are playing better, but then you got the Panthers and Saints. I think those are both wins. And for the Falcons, when you can't score, you played the Raiders last night and could scored 15 with a safety. As you're looking at that, I think the Commanders are tough. So I think it's the Buccaneers. I love the way they're running the football. Their offensive line's playing good. You look at Baker Mayfield. He's pushing the ball down the field with Mike Evans. These guys are playing well, so I think the Bucs are going to end up taking this division once again. Jeff,
you're saying stick with Kirk Cousins. He obviously has so much experience, but he's in the middle of this slump with 5 straight games with an interception. What would the message be to him? A veteran guy who right now can't quite figure it out, but his team's still finding ways to win.
Yeah, stay in the fight, right? Stop, don't. You can see like he just looks dejected when he walks to the sideline. He just looks like it's painful right now, and you got to get that life back in you, man. You got to be some excitement. We need the Kirk Cousins that's talking trash as he walks off the field. Are you gonna throw an interception? Maybe, but don't go out there and play scared. That's what I feel like he's doing. I feel like he's trying to be perfect. Every ball, when he throws it, it's like the anticipation. Is my guy going to catch it or somebody else going to catch it? He's thrown some really poor interceptions, but I think a lot of this is in his head. He's got to work through it, and that's what Raheem Morris is trying to do with him.
A lot of pressure for sure, but everybody looking at him to see how